Welcome back. In this video, we'll be showing you how to open an ODS file as a Polars data frame. You might be wondering what an ODS file even is. ODS is a spreadsheet file that's part of the open source OpenOffice suite. These spreadsheets have much of the same functionality as Excel spreadsheets, making it a great free alternative. With that said, let's demonstrate how to open these spreadsheets. We'll say that we work for a startup who keeps track of its employees through spreadsheets. Not only are they too broke to afford an employee management system, but they don't have enough money to pay for Excel, so they use OpenOffice. Your task is to open this file so you can perform some analysis. Now, in order to use the read ODS function, we need to actually install another package called EasyODF. And we can do that here in the Jupyter code block here by just running this, or you can come up to the terminal and create a new terminal and then pip install it there. I've already done that, so I'm not going to do that here, but it will take about maybe 30 seconds at the most to install. Okay, let's come in here and import Polars as PL and run the code. And I'm doing that so that we can have a little bit of help when we're trying to work with our data here. Okay, I'm going to actually add another code block right underneath here. And we're going to create a new variable called data and set it equal to pl.read. And then you should get the helper here, ODS, and we're going to just use that function right there. Now we're going to open the file with the default arguments as a baseline, so we just need to pass the file path to our employee's ODS file. So I'm going to do some quotes here, and then I can start typing employee. It's actually not pulling up. I'm going to just go ahead and grab it here. And if you drag it in here, you can hit Shift, and that will put the file path in for you. Handy little trick there. Okay, I'm going to type data so we can print out this variable, and let's see what we get. When we run the code, we get our employee data displayed in a data frame. Looking good so far. But this file actually contains multiple spreadsheets. Knowing what the sheet names are can be difficult if you don't have OpenOffice installed on your computer. But this isn't really a problem for us. We can use the sheet ID argument to import all the sheets at once. Let's go ahead and do that now. So I'm going to actually just grab this same code here and paste it below. And so a little bit of background before we dive into the sheet ID parameter is it basically will default to 1. So it's basically going to grab the first sheet. But we can also change it to grab all of the sheets at once, like I was saying. We can do that by passing 0 instead of the default. So let's go ahead and type sheet ID, set that equal to 0. And then it's going to pass back a dictionary. So let's go ahead and run that, see what that looks like. Okay, so it truncated it a little bit. I'm going to actually grab this little link here and make it display everything. But now you can see we have two data frames here. We've got our original one that we had before, the employees data frame from that first sheet. And then we have this other sheet here that has the hire date. So this is a great way to bring it in. If you actually want to go ahead and pull this data out of here, you can just come in this next cell here and type data and then type the hire date, because that's the dictionary name that we have there. And that will bring back the data frame in the regular kind of format that we have here. Okay, so previously we didn't know what the sheet names actually were because we couldn't open up the file and take a look. But now that we know, we can actually use the sheet name to pull in the data we want as well. And we can do that using the sheet name parameter. So let's scroll down a little bit here. And actually I'm going to come back up here and grab this same code again, just because it's easier to paste into our cell. And then I'm going to go ahead and just change this to sheet name so we can pull that parameter. And then I'm actually going to use the hire date sheet and pull that one in now. So running this code will effectively do the same thing as before, but now that we know the name, it'll just do it directly. So let's go ahead and run this. Okay, so as expected, we have our data frame here. The final parameter we'll look at is schema override. By default, Polars will scan the ODS file and assign a Polars data type to each of the columns. You can overwrite this by passing a dictionary with the column name and the data type you want to override with. In our case, we have a date of birth column that's being read in as a string. we want to change this behavior so that it becomes a date. We'll do this by copying the code once again from above. Let's go ahead and pull this in. And I'm going to remove this so that it pulls in that first sheet. And then I'm going to go ahead and type schema overrides. And then I'm going to pass a dictionary here. And so in the dictionary, we're going to need to grab the column name. So let's go ahead and scroll back up here. And at the very top, we've got the date of birth column that we want. Let's go ahead and just copy that. Bring that back down here. I'm going to paste that in. And then I actually need to encase that in some quotes. And then we're going to pass our value. So we're going to type pl.date. Okay, so now that we have the pl.date in there, we can go ahead and run the code. Okay, now you can see that instead of a string on the date of birth column, we now have a date. And that is all we have for this video. We'll catch up with you in the next one.